In the last lecture, we set up state and I told you that it would be special, but we don't really see that yet. All we do right now is manage our data there and then access it in our JSX code in the app.js file. Let's now handle a click on this button. We do this by adding on click. Now this is important. In normal JavaScript and normal HTML to be precise, it would be on click with a lowercase c. Now in JSX, and that is really important, it's on click with a capital C. Still, we then assign as a value the code we want to execute upon a click. And there we can use curly braces to execute some dynamic code. Now, typically, you want to execute a function of your class, a so-called method there. And there's a convention to give this a name like the following. Switch name handler maybe. Now the first part, switch name, is totally up to you. But you typically use handler here to indicate that this is a method you're not actively calling, but you're assigning as an event handler. It's not required to follow this pattern though. You can name this whatever you want, of course. It is a good practice to name it like this though. So switch name handler now should be a function. Now if we just said equal, right now it is just the same syntax as for the state property. But if we assign a function as a value here, it becomes a method basically. It still is a property you could say, but a property which holds a function which can be executed. Here I'll also use the ES6 arrow function. Keep in mind, this is just a normal function in the end. And there, I now want to edit my state. Well, before we do this, let's see if we can call this successfully. I will say console log was clicked so that we can see something in the console once this was clicked. And I will go to my click listener, and between the curly braces, I can now run this switch name handler and don't add parentheses. Don't do this. This would execute it immediately once React renders this to the DOM, because you execute this function with the parentheses. We only want to pass a reference, and we do this by using this and then referring to that property which holds a function. Important, if you don't use this syntax here basically, where you assign a function to a property, you could say, you will run into errors if you try to use this, as we will soon do, in this switch name handler function, because this will then not refer to the class at runtime, simply due how to this works in ES5 JavaScript. By using this ES6 syntax, we circumvent this problem, which will become important later. For now important, don't add parentheses here, just pass a reference to this function. With that, let's save this file, and let's now open the console in the developer tools and click switch name. And you should see was clicked in your developer tools here. Now that's nice. Now let's also change the state. We'll do this in the next lecture.